This is the brand new Archive from Prodigy Discs. It is a beadless mid-range and it's the Isaac Robinson and Prodigy collab. And this is an awesome disc that you need. Well, maybe. The two that they sent me, one is in 400 plastic and the other is in 500 plastic. And I just want to show you what they look like in the sunlight because they are absolutely beautiful. Honestly, a big shout out to Prodigy because I've noticed they put more and more work into the artwork instead of it just being an M4 or an FX2. Before we move on, I have to give a big shout out to the Prodigy social guy as well as their marketing guy. Without them, this video would not be possible. Now, if you're looking to pick up a Prodigy Archive, they release on August 17th at 12 p.m. on Prodigy's website or from your local shop as well. Now, the first question I'm gonna get asked, how does it feel? The 400 plastic feels really good. You're gonna notice that it is a little bit gummy. It feels insane in the hands. It feels just like premium plastic. As far as the 500 goes, it's a little bit more stiff and it still is that gummy feel. So you've seen these two beauties in the apartment. Let's go take them out on the field and see how they fly. So right off the bat, this flies absolutely as advertised. The flight numbers are absolutely true for the backhand. Now, what may surprise you is these flight numbers are not the same for the forehand. For my backhand, a 5502 rang so true that I compared it to the M2 and the Quake, and I got the same exact results from those two discs next to this Archive. However, for the forehand, it feels great in the hand. I'll flick it and it actually flips up the flat and even rides a little bit left for me instead of actually just pushing straight before it dumps out into the right. It's very unique and it is not as advertised. And if I had to give the flight numbers for the forehand Archive, it would be a 5.5 -1.1. Like it almost wants to be a buzz. Like there's a little bit more fade than a buzz, but it definitely pushes straight and doesn't fade off as much as say a Quake. So I found that part to be incredibly unique, but also kind of surprising. It surprised me so much so that I took a slow motion video of myself to see if there was any wrist rolling action going on, just to make sure I was throwing them consistently and they were given a fair review. And to this slow motion video, you can see this Quake and this Archive, my wrist is doing the same exact thing. So this Archive on the forehand's just a little bit more unique. Now, if you know anything about me, we have to compare this to the Quake. The Quake is the best overstable mid in my humble opinion. And when the Archive went head to head with it from a forehand standpoint, it stood no chance. The Quake just pushes straight and fades off to the exact amount of fade you want. You don't want it to be too beefy, but you also don't want it to push too straight with a small little finish. You want that overstability like advertised. Whereas this Archive, it doesn't do that. It actually flips up the flat like I talked about, rides a little bit left, and then has that two fade. The two fade is true, but it definitely flips up the flat and rides a little bit left. So for the forehand, the Quake takes it once again, but for the backhand, they're pretty much the same disc. At least for me, they are the same disc. I'm an MA2 player, and it is a backhand in progress right now. So when you compare those two discs, I'm not gonna find too much difference between the two. Now, I had to compare it to the M2 because this is basically a beadless M2, or at least that's what I've heard on the interwebs. For the backhand, it feels pretty much the same minus that bead digging into really whatever that part is on your fingers. They fly the same, they feel just a little bit different, and honestly, this really is just a beadless M2. As far as the forehand goes, it feels so much better on the forehand because that bead is not there and digging into that part of your hand, and you can just flick it on a smooth release. However, like I said, the flight numbers on the forehand aren't stable. So the M2 is more stable forehand, but it doesn't feel as good, but the Archive feels good, but is not as overstable as an M2. It's very interesting. It's a unique disc. But enough of this chit chat though. Let's go out into the course, play 9 holes with it so you can get a feel for it out on the course. So kind of as expected, my backhand fades more than my forehand just because my backhand is less powerful than my forehand. So we're left with about a 20 footer here. On the pole, hello. Okay, just for reference, hole 1 was about 255 feet. This one was about 245. Just a bad backhand. That forehand turned over on me just outside circle here. Gonna see if we can step it in. Come on. Course record? This shot right here does not look far at all. I think I might just attack it with a short little backhand and then a small little forehand. See what we can do. It looks like it's only about 190 feet or so. Okay, a little stable there. Super smooth. So when thrown super smooth, it does stable up. So the intention might have been to make this a nice little island hole, which would have been cool, but you can't see the island at all from the tee pad. Either way, I almost missed it. We're 3 down through 3. Archive, so far so great. Oh my gosh. It's just such a, It's really such a unique disc because when you think about it, these overstable and or stable mid-ranges shouldn't be turning over on you. They should be going dead straight and then fading off and doing what they're supposed to be doing. This one is just unique and I think it has a place in my bag and also maybe yours. Oh, fade. That was probably one of the best throws I've had on the backhand with it, and it was not the hole for it. That just shows that it isn't as overstable as advertised. Now we're going 400 plastic. Gonna throw it flat. Hopefully it turns over. Hopefully it will turn over and then fade out. A small headwind. That showed nothing. Haven't been giving myself good looks, but I've been actually making the putts, which is nice. Let's see if we can make one more. Get the archive. I guess it'll help you putt better. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna head over here to hole 1 again, and I'm going to throw a forehand full power and a backhand at my full power. So you can really get the feel of how this thing really flies on an elite forehand and a trash backhand. Gonna throw this thing on some hyzer because this thing will flip up and ride to the left. That's just crazy. A stable, overstable mid-range. I have to throw like this for it to flip up and come back down. That thing looked pretty. Go in. No, that thing was like 20 short. How's that for a forehand?